Good evening, all. In the last session, we discussed about what is Maven, how to set up Maven, and how to create a project by using Maven, and what is Maven project folder structure. Okay. In order to create the Maven project, first we need to understand this Maven terminology: archetype, group ID, artifact ID, packaging. Archetype represents what type of project you want to create. Group ID represents organization name. Artifact ID represents the project name. Packaging type represents how you want to package your Java application. Do you want to package it as a jar file or war file? Now, here, archetype quick start represents it is a Java standalone application. Archetype web app represents it is a Java web application. There are so many archetypes available in the Maven. So what type of project you want to create? Based on that, you need to select the archetype. Good. Now, how we can create one standalone application by using Maven. In order to create the standalone application by using Maven, we are using this command. In this command, we are giving archetype generate. That means create the project initial folder structure. For this project, I want to use the group ID as in.ashok IT. For this project, I want to use the artifact ID as a 01 Maven app. Archetype selection, I want to do as a quick start. Interactive mode is equal to false. Interactive mode is equal to false means it is not going to ask you what is group ID, what is artifact ID, what is archetype. Whatever you have given here by using -d, by using those options, it is going to create the project. When the Maven project got created, you can see the Maven project folder like this. Inside the project folder, SRC folder will be created. SRC folder represents it is a source folder. Application source code, Java source code will be available. Source code means .java files, guys. We already discussed what is the source code, what is bytecode. The source code will be available inside the SRC folder. Okay, inside the SRC, we have two folders again. Two subfolders are available inside the SRC. One is a main folder, another one is a test folder. Inside the main, again, we have the Java, and inside the test also we have the Java. SRC main Java, nothing but application business code, source code, application related Java programs will be available in the main Java folder. Application related unit test classes will be available inside the test Java folder. SRC main Java will be there. SRC test Java will be available. Main Java will contain the main logic of the application. Test Java will contain unit testing logic of the application. And we will have a pom.xml. POM stands for project object model, which is the input file for the Maven. What we can do in this pom.xml, inside the pom.xml, we are going to add the dependencies. What is the meaning of the dependencies? In our Java project, along with the Java, we are going to use some other frameworks also, like Spring, Hibernate, Spring Boot, Kafka, Redis, etc. Along with the Java, we are going to use some other frameworks also in the Maven project, right? The frameworks which we are using in our project are called as dependencies. Here, in order to use those dependencies in the project, we have to download manually. But instead of we are going to download those dependencies, Maven is going to download the dependencies for us. Now, sir, I want a Hibernate dependency. Then you need to add the Hibernate dependency in the pom.xml file. But how I will know about the Hibernate group ID, Hibernate artifact ID, Hibernate version? You can find out the dependencies in a website called mvnrepository.com. So this Maven is a Apache software. Maven software given by Apache company. So Apache company providing you all the dependency details in a website. That website URL is mvnrepository.com. Whatever the dependency you want in your project, then you can search for the dependency in the mvnrepository.com. You can copy the details and you can add the dependency in the pom.xml. Okay, that's fine. If I add a dependency in the pom.xml, then how Maven is going to download the dependency? From where Maven is going to download that dependency? Guys, Maven will download the dependencies using repository. How many repositories are available in the Maven? There are three types of repositories are available in the Maven. First one is central repository. Second one is remote repository. third one is local repository. Guys, do you remember that yesterday we discussed up to this point? There are three types of repositories are available in the Maven. What are those three types of repositories? Central repository, remote repository, and local repository. Where the local repository will be available? Can you tell me? Where is that local repository of the Maven? Where the local repository is available? Local repository will be available in our system. That is the .m2 folder. Can you see the .m2 folder in our system? Go to our computer, C drive, users, your username. My system username is Ashok. Here I can see one folder with a name called .m2. That is my local repository, which contains all the jars, nothing but the dependencies will be available. Dependencies will be available here. Got it? Fine. Local repository, we understood. Then what about central repository and what about remote repository? Let's try to understand about those repositories. Guys, here, this is local repository. Whenever you create a Maven project, by default, Maven local repository will be created in our system that is called .m2. That is called as .m2. .m2 folder will be created in our local system that is called as Maven local repository. Then already we have a central repository for the Maven and we have a remote repository for the Maven. Got it. So this is central repository. This is central repository and this is remote repository. This is central repository and this is remote repository. Now this central repository will contain maintained by Apache organization. Remote repository will be maintained by every organization. Apache manages this. Apache manages this. Okay. Every company will have their own repository. Remote repositories are company specific. Remote repositories are company specific. Now, this local repository is pointing by our pom.xml. We have our pom.xml file. The pom.xml file will be pointing to our local repository by default. Pom.xml file will be pointing to this local repository. Okay. Now, guys, here, whenever you add a dependency in the pom.xml, let's go to our pom.xml file that we have created. In the last session, we have created a Maven project. In that Maven project, we got the pom.xml file. Let's open the pom.xml. What is the URL it is having, guys? In this pom.xml, what is the URL having? maven.apache.org. Okay. Now here, guys, in the pom.xml, we have configured the URL of the Maven. This pom.xml will be pointing to local repository first. Local repository first. Guys, here, what this Maven will do, observe carefully. Maven is very intelligent here. Whenever we add a dependency in the pom.xml file, first, Maven will search for the dependency in the local repository. Are you guys understanding my point? Whenever we add a dependency in the pom.xml, first what Maven is going to do? Maven will search for that dependency in the local repository. If local repository contains that dependency, Maven will take that local repository dependency, will add to the project. Understood my point? First, I'm adding a dependency in the pom.xml. Where the Maven will search for the dependency? First, Maven will search for the dependency in the local repository. If that dependency already available in the local repository, then Maven will add the dependency to the project build path or project class path. It is going to add the dependency to the project build path. For example, the dependency not available in the local repository. For example, dependency not available in the local repository. Then what will happen? Every dependency will be available in the local repository, or every dependency will not be available in the local repository. Some dependencies may available, some dependencies may not be available in the local repository. If I add a dependency for first time in the pom.xml, that is not available in the local. Here, Maven is intelligent. When we add the dependency in the pom.xml, first it will search in the local repository only, which is available in our system. The Maven project is available in my system. In my system, Maven local repository also available. Whenever I add the dependency in the pom.xml, it will search for that dependency in the local repository first. Okay, in the local repository, it is available. If it is available in the local repository, then immediately our Java project is connected to pom.xml. This is my Java project. My Java project is connected to this pom.xml. My Java project is connected to this pom.xml. Now, whatever the dependencies I want from the Maven, those dependencies will come from local repository, guys. My project is having pom.xml. Inside the pom.xml, I'm adding the dependencies. Maven is going to search for the dependency in the local. If the dependency available in the local, Maven will add the dependency to the project build path. For example, the dependency not available in the local. Then Maven will search for the dependency in the central repository, which is managing by the Apache. Whenever the dependency not available in the local, Maven will search for that dependency in the central repository, because in our pom.xml, by default, it is connecting to central. If the dependency not available in the local, then only it will search in the central. Then it will download the dependency from the central to local. First time, whatever the dependency you add in the pom.xml, if the dependency not available in the local, it will download the dependency from the central. Central is nothing but maintaining by Apache. Then it will download to local. From the local, it will give to the project. For your project, always you will get the dependency from the local only. If it is not available in the local, that is not your headache. That is the Maven headache. If the dependency not there in the local, then Maven will go to central and Maven will download the dependency to the local. From the local, it will give to the project. Are you able to understand how the Maven is managing the dependencies in the project? Are you able to understand how the Maven is managing the dependencies? Right. First term, as a DevOps engineer, you will create the project initial folder structures. You will create the project by using initial folder structure. Then developers will take that project and developers will take the dependencies from the MVN repository. They will add in the pom.xml. Then Maven will search for the dependency in their local repository. If it is available from the local, it will give to Java project. If it is not there in the local, then Maven will go to central repository. Maven will go to central repository. From the central, it is downloading to local. From the local, it is going to give you. That is the scenario. Okay, that is the one that you are going to see when you are practicing the Maven in your local laptop or in your personal computer. Tomorrow, when you join in the company people will not use the central repository, guys. When you are working in the real company project, company people will not use the central repository, which is managing by the Maven, which is managing by the Apache. In the company, they will use their own repository. Company will maintain their own repository. The repository which is managing by our companies, every company will have their own Maven repository for the dependencies. Why? Because why the company will have their own repositories? The reason is, for example, I have taken Spring from the central Spring 5.2 version. I have taken from the central. Okay, this is Spring project developed by other company. Their dependency available in the central repository. Now I have added the Spring dependency in the pom.xml. Pom.xml searching for the dependency in the local. It is not available in the local. Then it is downloading from the central. It is giving to the project. That is perfect. Now I have implemented code based on Spring 5.2 version jar, based on Spring 5.2. Later point of time, Spring people has done some changes to Spring 5.0 version. My code will work if that 5.0 or 5.2 version of the Spring is modified. My application code will work or my application code will not work. Will not work. They have developed a Spring project with the 5.2 version that is available in the central repository. I have downloaded the repository from the central. I have used that Spring 5.2 version framework. Based on the 5.2 version, I have developed my Java project. Later point of time, they identified some mistake. They identified some bug in the 5.2 version of the Spring. They have modified some code in the Spring framework. If they modified some code in the Spring framework, will it affect on my Java project or it will not affect on my Java project? Will it affect on my Java project or it will not affect on my Java project? Definitely it is going to affect, because I am going to download the jar. Based on the latest changes in the jar, my code may not work. So always it is risky if you are downloading the jars from the central repository in the real-time project. That's why what the companies are going to do, companies are going to maintain their own remote repository. Companies are going to create their own repository. So whenever you are using project development with Maven, then here in this pom.xml, we are going to configure remote repository URL. Currently, whenever create the Maven, by default, our pom.xml connecting to the central repository. If the dependency not available, if the dependency not available in the local repository, by default, Maven is going to download from the central. Using the central repository, dependency is always a risk, because if they modified something in that Spring framework, then it may affect on my project functionality. So that is the reason in the real time, companies are going to maintain their own remote repository. Companies are going to maintain their own remote repository. Now, when you are using the Maven in the pom.xml, you need to configure your company repository URL. Here, Maven Apache URL is configured here, repositories, right? That is going to connect with the central. Now I need to tell to my pom.xml, hey pom.xml, don't connect to the central by default. You connect to the remote when the dependency not available in the pom.xml. So in the every company, there will be a team who is going to maintain the remote repository. Some team will be available in the company. So Maven teams will be available at the organization level, not at the project level. At the organization level, one team will be available. They are going to maintain the remote repositories. What are the dependencies are required for the company related? All the dependencies they are going to download from the Apache. They are going to keep in their own remote repository. For the project, you need to connect to the remote repository. Company people are not going to change anything in the remote. Even if it is changed in the central, no problem, because we have downloaded already and we kept in the remote, we are accessing from the remote. If the company is modifying something in the remote repository, company will inform to the project people, hey, we are modifying a dependency, please check your code. Is there any impact with the latest changes in your code? Please check it. Our company will maintain the remote repository. Our project should connect to the remote repository. Whenever you are normally learning the Maven, then you will connect to the central. But in the real-time project, we will connect to remote. Okay. Are you clear with this one? Are you clear with this one? What is local repository? What is central repository? And what is remote repository? Are you getting my point, guys? I'm repeating once again. Observe carefully. Guys, I think I have given this concept very beautiful diagram I have given for my Java project batch people, I think. So let me check it once. How to work with Maven. I think I have explained them long back. Yep. Yeah. Wow. It's a beautiful diagram. See here. For the Java people, I have explained this concept, guys. Same Maven concept we have done in the 20 JRTP batch. Yes. Now, so see here, my Java project is having pom.xml. What is a pom.xml? What is a pom.xml, guys? Pom.xml is nothing but a Maven configuration file. Pom.xml nothing but it is a Maven configuration file. Our Java project is connected to pom.xml. Now, in the pom.xml, we are going to configure all the dependencies. Now, pom is connected to which repository by default? Pom is connected to which repository by default? POM is connected to local repository by default. Where is that local repository? Local repository is created in our computer. This is the path C users username.m2. In our machine, C folder, C drive, users folder, username folder in the .m2, the local repository will be available in the .m2. Dependencies will come from the local repository to the project build path. What are the dependencies you are adding in the pom.xml that will connect to the local repository? From the local repository, the dependencies will come to our Java project. For example, if the dependency not available in the local, by default, local repository, if it is not available, then Maven will connect to the central repository. Who is managing the central repository? Apache organization maintaining central repository for everybody. Okay, when you are a student, when you are doing practice, when you are doing the learning, then you can directly connect to the central and you can download the dependencies. Maven will download from central to local. But when you are working in the IT company, IT companies will connect it to central repository. IT company projects will connect it to central repositories, or IT companies projects will maintain their own remote repositories. IT companies will maintain their own remote repositories. IT companies will maintain their own remote repository. So repositories will be maintained at the project level, or repositories will be maintained at the organization level. Repositories will be maintained at the project level, or it is maintained at the organization level. Organization level. Because in the organization, multiple Java projects will be available now. One company will develop only one Java project. TCS will develop only one Java project. TCS will develop multiple Java projects. Then how to manage the dependencies for all the Java projects in the TCS? TCS company will have a Maven remote repository. TCS company will have one team at the organization level. They will manage the repositories. Now we will connect it to that repository. Did you hear about a concept called JFrog? Did you hear a concept called JFrog? That is a repository management tool. We are going to learn how to work with the JFrog also. JFrog is one remote repository. Company will maintain a JFrog. In that JFrog, they are going to maintain the remote repositories. Now, your project will connect to the JFrog repository to download the dependencies. Your project will not download from the central. Your project will download from the JFrog. JFrog will be maintained by your company. JFrog is your remote repository. Understood? Understood. Local repository means it will be available in your system. Central repository maintaining by Apache. Remote repository will be maintained by every software company. Every software company will have a remote repository. Now you see here JFrog will be available. Let's go to the Google and check it. JFrog. What is JFrog? What is JFrog? Yeah, JFrog. JFrog Artifactory, Universal Artifact Management. What is JFrog Artifactory? See here. The world's first universal repository, JFrog Artifactory, is the mission critical heart of the JFrog platform, functioning as the single source of truth for all the packages, container images, Helm charts as they move across the entire Devops pipeline. Artifact repository, binary repositories, containers, deployments, everything can be managed by using this JFrog. So JFrog is going to act as a remote repository for our project. JFrog is going to act as a remote repository for our project. We are going to learn about this JFrog also. We are going to learn about this JFrog also in the coming classes of our Devops. All right. Now, the next question you may get a doubt. Ashok, by default, we are connecting to central repository in the pom.xml. Guys, do I need to do any change in the pom.xml to connect to the central? Do I need to do any changes in the pom.xml to connect to the central? No, because it is default. It is default. Whenever you create a maven, pom.xml will create. Pom.xml will connect it to local. If the dependency not available in the local, directly it will connect it to central. But now in the real project, are we going to connect to the central? Are we going to connect to the remote? Are we going to connect to the central? Are we going to connect to the remote? We need to connect to the remote. Which one we are going to use as a remote repository in the project? JFrog repositories, customized JFrogs we are going to use. In the JFrog repository, we are going to configure all the Java related dependencies for all the Java projects in the company. Now, here JFrog team will be available, guys. As I told you, a organization level team will be available to manage all the dependencies related to our project. JFrog team people will give you JFrog repository details to you. When you get the JFrog details to you, when you get the JFrog details from the team, you need to configure that remote repository in the project like this. They will give you ID of the project and they will give you the JFrog repo URL. They will give you JFrog repo URL for you. Like this, you need to configure a repositories tag in the pom.xml and you need to configure the JFrog repo URL. Then your pom.xml file is going to talk to remote repository and it is going to download the dependencies from your repository. If you don't configure this repository tag in the pom.xml, then by default it is going to download from the central repository all the dependencies. So it will download from the central, it will keep in the local. If you don't want to go with the central, then you configure the JFrog repository details in the pom.xml. Then it is going to download from the remote repository to local, from the local to project. Anyhow, it should come to the local first. From the local, then only it will give to the project. Then only it will give to the project. Look at the diagram. You should get the clarity. Guys, settings.xml file will be available. So there is a file called settings.xml. In that file also you can configure the JFrog details. For developers, you are going to give the settings.xml file. For the DevOps people, this settings.xml not required. This settings.xml file is required for the Java developers. That is a different story. In the settings.xml, they will configure the path of the JFrog and they will give to the developers. Developers will use the settings.xml to connect to the remote repository from their IDEs. They will use some Eclipse IDE or they will use some Visual Studio Code IDEs to write the code. So those IDEs requires the settings.xml to connect to the remote. But as a DevOps engineer, you are going to just change in the pom.xml to connect to the remote repositories. Settings.xml file is a different story that is required for the developers, not for the DevOps people. In the IDE, we need to import the settings.xml. In the Eclipse IDE or Spring Tool Suite IDE or Visual Studio Code IDE, we need to import the settings.xml. That task will done by the developers. The task will done by developers. The task will done by developers. Look at this diagram. Look at the diagram. Okay. So with this, are you clear with are you clear with repository concept. So settings.xml file I will explain in the Java classes, not here. In the Java projects, we are going to discuss what is the settings.xml. Okay, that file we need to import in the Eclipse. In the Eclipse IDE, you have the option to import the settings.xml. In the Eclipse, if you go to Maven folder, in that Maven, you have the option to import the user settings so that your IDE can connect it to that remote repository. Good, perfect. So with this we completed. With this we completed what is repository concept in the Maven. Okay. Now, whenever we add a dependency, first term, when we add how Maven will download the dependency, how Maven will download the dependency. When we add a dependency, when we add dependency in pom.xml, Maven will search for that, dependency in local repository. In local repository. If it is available, it will add to project build path. It will add to project build path. If dependency not available, in local repository, then Maven will connect to central repository, or remote repository based on our configuration. Note, by default, Maven will connect with the central repository. By default, Maven will connect with central repository. If we want to use remote repository, then we need to configure remote repository details. Got it? We need to configure remote repository details. Note, every software company will maintain their own remote repository. Example, JFrog. Guys, all of you read these points now. When we add dependency in the pom.xml, Maven will search for that dependency in the local repository. When we add dependency in the pom.xml, Maven will search for the dependency in the local repository. If it is available, then it will add to, it will add to the project build path. If dependency not available in the local repository, then Maven will connect to central repository or remote repository based on our configuration. By default, Maven will connect with the central repository. If we want to use remote repository, then we need to configure remote repository details. Every company will maintain their own remote repositories. Like this, you can configure repository details in the pom.xml. Clear? Fine, guys. With this, we created a Maven standalone application. That is fine. Next one, we need to do some activities with that Maven. So as we discussed, Maven is going to compile the project source code. Maven is going to execute the unit test code. Maven is going to package our project. So for this, we need to understand a concept called Maven goals. The next concept is Maven goals. To perform the build activities, project build activities, Maven provided several goals. Like clean goal is available, compile goal is available, test goal is available, package goal is available, install goal is available. Right now, I have a Java project I have created by using Maven. Now I want to compile my project. My project contains the .java files. My .java files should be converted to .class files. We discussed about what is compilation. In order to compile the source code, Maven is having a compile goal. When the dot class files are created, I want to delete the dot class files. I want to create once again. I want to delete it and I want to compile once again. Then you can go for clean goal. Test goal. Test goal is used to execute unit test code of our application. Package goal is used to execute or is used to generate jar file or war file for our Java project. Install goal, which is used to install our project as a dependency in the local repository. Install goal is used to install our project as a dependency in the local repository. These are called as goals in the Maven. So to perform the project build activities, Maven provided several goals. One is a clean goal, second one is compile, third one is a test, package, install. Clean goal is used to clean goal is used to delete target folder in Maven. Is used to delete a target folder in Maven. Compile goal. Compile goal is used to compile project source code. Project source code. Compiled compiled code compiled code will be stored in target folder. Target folder. Nothing but here .java file will be compiled into .class file. That is called compilation. That is called as compilation. Okay. Once the code is compiled, the .class files will be created. Those .class files will be stored into target folder. Now, test goal is used to execute application unit test code. We discussed about src main Java main test Java na test Java folder code. Test goal is used to execute unit test code for of our application. Test goal is used to execute unit test code of our application. Package goal is used to generate package goal is used to generate jar or war file for our application based on packaging type. Based on packaging type available in pom.xml. In the pom.xml, packaging type will be available. If the packaging type is a jar, so whenever you execute a package goal, the project will be packaged as a jar file. If the packaging type is a var, then the project will be packaged as a var file. Next one, install goal. Install goal is used to install our project as a dependency. Our project as a dependency in Maven local repository. Our project also will be generated as a dependency in the local repository. Generally, we are downloading the dependencies. If you want to represent your project as a dependency in the local repository, then you will go for install goal. Generally, you don't need to do the install, guys. It is not required for us. We are going to do up to package. Up to package means it is going to generate a jar file or var file. How it will understand that whether to generate the jar or whether to generate the var? In the pom.xml already we are giving the packaging type. If the packaging type is a jar, so whenever you execute the package goal, then Maven is going to generate a jar file. If the packaging type is given as a var, so whenever you execute the package goal, it is going to generate a var file for your project. Now, package goal is used to generate jar or var file for our application based on packaging type available in pom.xml file. Based on the pom.xml file. So these are called Maven goals, guys. In the interview, they will ask you what are the goals of the Maven? What is the purpose of each goal in the Maven? Now, Maven is a build tool which is used to automate build process of the application. In order to automate the build process of the application, we need to execute Maven goals. What are the Maven goals available? Clean goal available, compile goal available, test goal available, package goal available, install goal available. What is the purpose of clean goal? Clean goal is used to delete the target folder. Hey Ashok, where is the target folder? I don't see the target folder in the yesterday's session. Do we have a target folder in the yesterday's class? Whenever I create the Maven project, can you see the target folder here? 01 Maven is the project, SRC available, inside the SRC main available, inside the main Java available, in Ashok IT app.java, one Java program created. Can you see target folder here? Not available. When the target folder will be created? Whenever you compile your Java project, then the Java files will be converted to the .class files now. Then the target folder will be created. Target folder is used to store the bytecode of your application. Target folder is used to store the bytecode of your application. So if you want to delete the target, whatever the bytecode is generated, I want to delete the target folder, then you can go for clean goal. Clean goal is used to delete the target folder of the Maven project. Target folder of our project. Clean goal is used to delete target folder. What is the purpose of compile goal? Compile goal is used to compile the project to source code. Compile code will be stored in target folder. That Java files will be converted to that class files. Maven is going to do the compilation by using Java compiler. What is the purpose of test goal? Maven project will contain business logic as well as unit test logic. If I want to execute only unit test logic of our application, then I will go for test goal. Then what is the purpose of a package goal? Package goal is used to generate the jar or war file for our application based on the packaging type available in the pom.xml. In the pom.xml, we have packaging type as a jar. That means when I package my application, it will packaged as a jar file. Okay, install goal, that is used to install our project as a dependency in the Maven local repository. Okay, let me go there and execute, guys. Now go inside the project. Earlier from outside I have created a project. In order to execute the Maven goals, you should go inside the project. Now open the CMD. Open the CMD. How to execute a goal? Maven space clean. Execute the clean, MVN clean. MVN clean goal I am executing. What is the status of my build, guys? My build is a success or my build is failure? My build is a success or my build is failure? My build is success. Now you see, when I execute Maven clean, it is using one plugin called Maven clean plugin. So every goal is associated with a plugin in the Maven. Every Maven goal is associated with a Maven plugin. Plugin will, when we execute the goal, when we execute Maven goal, then respective Maven plugin will execute. Respective Maven plugin will execute to perform the operation. Now I want to do the clean. So now see here, when I want to do the clean, I'm executing MVN clean, Maven clean command. When I execute the Maven clean, it is going to do the clean activity. Who is doing that clean activity? Maven clean plugin is doing the clean activity. Now, okay, let me execute MVN compile. Let me execute MVN compile. Now see that MVN compile. So whenever I do MVN compile, what is the meaning of the compile? What is the meaning of the compile? Project is compiling. What is the meaning of a project compiling? In the project, we have some .java files. Those .java files are converting into .class files. Why we need to do the compilation? Java is a programming language. Computer cannot understand the Java. Computer will understand only binary language. Computer will understand only binary language. Now come to our project folder. Now can you see target folder is created? Now can you see target folder is created? Who is creating the target folder? Compile goal. Go inside the target. What is available? Classes available in dot Ashok IT is my pack. Can you see app dot class is available? Can you see app dot class is available? In the main Java folder, let's go to SRC main Java in Ashok IT. Can you see app dot Java? In the main Java folder, .java file is available. In the target folder, .class file is available. So can I say that my project is compiled? Can I say that my project is compiled? Who has done that compilation? Maven. Which goal is available in the Maven to compile the project? Can I say compile goal is used to compile the project to source code? Compile goal is used to compile the project source code. Compiled code will be stored. Compiled code will be stored in the target folder. In the target folder. Okay, guys, whatever the target folder is available, I want to delete my target folder. Do you know how to delete the target folder? Guys, do you know how to delete the target folder? Do you know how to delete the target folder? Now, can you tell me how can I delete the target folder? How can I delete the target folder? MVN clean. Yes, execute it. Target folder deleted. Can you see in the window? Target folder got deleted? Yes or no? Please confirm, guys. Target folder got deleted or not? People are not responding. People are not responding. Target folder got deleted. Now, if I execute the same goal once again, anything will happen? If I execute the clean goal once again, anything will happen? Nothing will happen. When you execute the clean goal, if the target folder is available, it will delete that. If the target folder not available, it is not going to do anything. That's it. Understood? Understood my point? MVN space clean. There is no target folder. What the clean will do? It will not do anything because there is no target to delete. Fine. Can I compile the project now? In my project, thousands of Java programs are available. I want to compile all my Java programs in the single shot. How can I do that? By using Maven. What is the command? What is the command to compile all the Java classes in my project? MVN compile. MVN compile is the goal. Execute it. Execute it. Build is a success. Now, when I have compiled, target folder is created. What is the meaning of target folder? What will be there in the target folder? What will be there in the target folder? That class files are available. That is a bytecode. That is a bytecode. Okay, that's fine. Guys, I want to do clean and compile in a single shot. Is it possible? Can I delete a target and can I compile in single shot? Can I try that? You can execute multiple goals at a time, guys. Okay, MVN space, clean space, compile. Now, can you tell me what this command will do now? Can you tell me what this command will do now? Removes .m2. Sir, it will remove .m2. Someone is sending it will remove .m2. My God. What are you listening, man? Mr. Sai, what are you listening? Are you with me in the class? Or you are chatting with your girlfriend? Whenever I do clean, it is not going to delete the M2. It is going to delete only target folder, sir. Please understand. It's very important. Okay? Right. I want to delete the target and I want to compile once again. Chalo. That means I want to recompile the whole project. I want to recompile the whole project. Existing dat class files are there. Usko nikal do. Then recompile the whole project. Clean compile. Do this. Clean compile. Clean compile. Successful? Successful? Yes. Clean compile we have done. So clean compile means it will delete the target folder. Again, it will create the target folder. Okay. Inside the target folder, we have the dot class file. Next one, MVN test. MVN test. What is the purpose of test, guys? What is the purpose of test? When we will use the test goal? When we will use the test goal? To execute the unit tests. What is unit test? Developers will write some code. To test that code, they will write the other code. That is called unit test code. As a DevOps engineer, you don't worry about it. Developers will write some program. To test that program is working or not, they will write the unit test code. How to execute only unit test of our application? By using MVN test goal. Now, when I execute MVN test goal, my build is a success or my build is failed? My build is success or my build is failed. When I go for MVN test, build is success. That means whatever the unit test code is available in the project, as I mentioned, test Java folder, that code is executed. That is successful. That is successful. Now, I want to execute package goal, guys. Can you tell me what is the purpose of the package goal? What is the purpose of the package goal? jar or var. Okay, let's go inside the target folder. Now I'm inside the target folder. Currently, do we have anything in the target folder related to jar file or war file? Do I have anything in the target folder? No. Let's execute MVN package. Now see that, guys. MVN package goal I'm executing. I'm executing MVN package goal. Wow. Can you see jar file is created? Can you see jar file is created? Why the jar is created? Why var is not created? Why jar is created? When I execute the package goal, why it created the jar? Why not var? It is a standalone project. Packaging type we have given as a jar format. That's why it generated a jar file. It generated a jar file. Got it? All of you got my point? Now, with this we understood what are the goals of the Maven. Can you see Maven goals here? Clean goal, compile goal, test goal, package goal, install goal. We can execute MVN install also. MVN install also we can do. That is also one goal. It is going to install our project as a dependency in the local repository. Build success. Now our project is installed in the local repository. Clean, compile, test, package, install. Sir, now here you no need to execute all the goals one by one. Directly you can execute the MVN clean package. That's it. Okay. Clean package I'm going to execute. When you execute the package goal, internally it will execute the compile goal and test goal. Package goal will execute with compile, test and package. Now someone is asking, sir, what will happen if I delete the target folder and if I execute the package goal directly? I have deleted the target folder. Currently, do I have the target folder? Currently, do I have the target folder? No. Can I delete the target folder now? I have deleted the target folder. I have deleted the target folder. I'm going to do MVN package directly. Now see, I have executed the package goal directly. Target is created or not. That means whenever I execute the package goal, first it is executing the compile goal, then it is executing the Surefire plugin test goal, then it is executing the package goal. So when I execute package goal, do I need to execute compile and test or it will execute automatically? Do I need to execute the compile and test every time or package goal will take care of that? Package goal will take care of that. Package goal will take care of that. Okay. So with this, do you understand how to package Java project by using goals? In the interview, they will ask you these questions only for the DevOps people. What is the purpose of Maven goals? What is the purpose of clean goal? What is the purpose of a package goal? What is the purpose of compile goal? What is the purpose of test goal? What will happen if I execute package directly? What will happen if I execute package directly? It will execute the compile, it will execute the test, then it will execute the package. For every goal, there is a plugin. In order to create the jar file, Maven jar plugin is available. In order to test, Surefire plugin is available. In order to compile, Maven compiler plugin is available. For every goal, there is a plugin to perform the actual task. To perform project build activities, Maven provided several goals for us. To perform project build activities, Maven provided several goals for us. Clean. Clean is used to delete the target folder. Compile. Compile goal is used to compile the project source code. Compiled code will be generated in the target folder. Test goal is used to execute unit test code of our application. Okay, JUnit code will be executed when we go for test goal. JUnit code. Okay, package goal is used to generate a jar or war file for our application based on packaging type available in the pom.xml. Jar or war file will be created in target folder. Jar or war file will be created inside the target folder. Inside the target folder. What is the purpose of install goal? Install goal is used to install our project as a dependency in the Maven local. Our project will be represented as a dependency in the local. Okay, for to perform the unit testing, Lala Tendu, to perform the unit testing, they will use the JUnit. Developers will use the JUnit, you don't worry. Developers will use the JUnit to perform the unit testing. Plugin, nothing but plugin is a program which will perform the operation. What is a plugin? Plugin is a program which will perform the operation in the Maven. Whenever you execute a goal, Maven plugin is executing. Maven plugin is a program which will perform the operation. When I execute a clean, Maven plugin will perform the clean operation. That means it will delete the target folder. When I execute a compile, Maven compiler goal will execute. Compile goal, compiler plugin will come. That compile plugin will compile the Java code. When I execute the test goal, test plugin, nothing but a Surefire plugin is called as a test plugin. That plugin will execute JUnit code in the application. When I execute a package, it will check, is it a jar packaging type or is it a war packaging type? If it is a jar packaging type, jar plugin will be used and it is going to create a jar file in the target folder. If the packaging type is a war, then war plugin will be used to create a war file and it will package the project as a war. It will create the war file in the target folder. So always better to execute a clean package. Clean means delete the target folder. Package means it will execute a compile, it will execute a test, then it will execute jar or war plugin. So where your packaged file will be available now? Where your packaged file will be available? Finally, as a DevOps engineer, do you need to bother about .java file, .class file, or jar file or war file? Which one you need to consider as a DevOps engineer? Jar or war we need to consider. That's it. We no need to bother about what is .java, what is .class. We need only jar or var to deploy in the server. That's it. Now, look at this. In the previous class, we have discussed about our DevOps architecture, right? DevOps architecture, we have discussed. DevOps architecture, I think when I discussed about the tools in the tools overview, I have given you one diagram. Not this one. Okay, look at this. Compile and package. So developers has done the coding. Where developers will keep the code which they have developed. Your project is having a development team where they will keep the source code of the project. Developers will keep the source code of the project in the GitHub. Who is responsible to deploy the code into server? Which tool is responsible to deploy the code into server? Which tool, which software is responsible to deploy the code into server? Jenkins. Jenkins software. What is the code available in the GitHub? In the GitHub, source code will be available or bytecode will be available. Source code will be available. Can you keep the source code in the server directly? Can you keep the source code in the server directly? No. Then what we need to do with the source code? We need to compile. Which software we are using to compile? Maven. Only compilation or we need to package also? Only compilation or we need to package also? We need to package also. Can we do the code compilation, code packaging by using Maven software? Or Jenkins can do the compilation? Jenkins cannot do the compilation. Jenkins will take the help of the Maven for the compilation and for packaging. Okay, which software will download the code from the GitHub? Jenkins will download the code from the GitHub. Jenkins will give the code to Maven. Maven will compile the code. Maven will package the project, will give the war file. Then Jenkins will deploy the war file in the server. Now tell me, do we need to integrate Jenkins with Maven? Or we no need to integrate Jenkins with Maven? We need to integrate the Jenkins with Maven. Then only you can do the build and deployment. Build will done by Maven, deployment will done by Jenkins. Build plus deployment. Build will done by Maven, deployment will done by Jenkins. Now do you understand how the code is getting compiled, how the code is getting packaged? Are you getting the picture of this now? Project is having a development team. Developers are writing the Java code. That is called source code. Whatever the source code they have developed, they are going to store the source code into the repository. Repository is a central server where the project source code will be available. Project will contain multiple developers. Multiple developers code will be integrated into the GitHub repository. Whatever the code is available in the GitHub repository, now we need to take that code and we need to deploy in the server. Server can understand the Java code directly. Server cannot understand the Java code directly. Server cannot understand the Java code directly because Java is a programming language. Computer will understand only binary language. We need to convert the Java program into computer understandable format. Can I convert the Java code directly into bytecode? Yes. Java code can be converted into bytecode by using Java compiler. Now, do we need to do that compilation manually or we can do the compilation automation by using Maven? We can use the Maven to automate the project compilation by using compile goal. Once the project is compiled, it will generate a dot class file. Can my computer understand the dot class file? Computer cannot understand the dot class file. Computers cannot understand the dot class files. Now, in the project, we will have one dot class file. In the project, we will have several dot class files. Or you need to package all the dot class files as a jar file or war file. You need to package all the dot class files as a jar file or war file. When to go for jar file, when to go for war file. If your project is a standalone application, then go for jar file. If your project is a web application, then go for war file. Who is generating the jar or who is jar or war? Maven will generate. Then what is the duty of the Jenkins? Take that war file and keep in the server. That's it. Now, do you understand? I mean, when I explained this diagram, so many people asked me, sir, developers already using Maven, then why Jenkins should use the Maven? Today, you got the clarity. Why Jenkins should use the Maven? In the GitHub, we will have only source code. Jenkins will download the source code. That source code should be compiled. For that, we will use Maven. Whatever the source code we got from the GitHub, we need to compile the source code and we need to package the source code. That compilation and packaging can be done by using Maven. Can you tell me which goal I need to use to compile and package my project? Do I need to use 2 goals or only 1 goal is sufficient? 2 goals, huh? 1 goal, huh? Package goal is sufficient. Package goal will do compilation and package. Before doing the compilation, is it recommended to delete the old .class files? Delete the old .class files, right? Because we are going to compile freshly. Fresh compilation we will do. How to delete the old .class files? Delete the target folder. Clean goal, MVN clean. So can I execute clean package at a time? Can I execute clean package at a time? If I execute clean package, how many goals will execute internally? Clean will execute, compile will execute, test will execute, package will execute. 4 goals will execute. Okay. Now, in the project Devops project, in the Jenkins, we are going to tell that, hey Jenkins, use the Maven and execute the clean package goal. Then it will give you war file. Then you deploy the war file to the server. That is called the scripting we are going to do. In the Jenkins, we are going to do the scripting. What is the scripting we are going to do in the Jenkins? Hey Jenkins, go to GitHub, download the source code. Then give the source code to Maven. Then execute Maven clean package goal. Then Maven will create a war file. War file will be available in the target folder. You go to target folder and take the war file and you deploy the war file into whatever I am telling. That information we need to tell to Jenkins. Then Jenkins will do all these activities. Jenkins will go to GitHub, download the source code, give the source code to Maven, and tell to Maven to execute a clean package goal. Maven will execute the package goal, will generate a jar or var in the target folder. Then Jenkins will go to target folder, will take the jar file or var file, then it will deploy that var file into server. That is build and deployment activity we need to do. Now tell me, as a DevOps engineer, you should know Maven, or you no need to know the Maven? Do you need to know the Maven or you no need to know the Maven? Maven is a build tool. It is required for you. It is required for you. I have explained Maven in detail, guys, because I have 9 years experience with Maven. If you normally attend the DevOps course with the DevOps faculty, they will explain the Maven within 1 day or 2 days. They will tell you how to create Maven project, how to execute Maven goals. Maven tool is completed. Just 2 days they will take for Maven. That's it. How to create Maven, how to install Maven. What is Maven? 5 minutes. How to install Maven? 10 minutes. How to create Maven project, how to execute Maven goal. 1 or 2 days task is completed. But here we are understanding internals also. What is Maven? What can we do with this Maven? What we can do with this Maven? What is a dependency for Maven? How Maven is downloading the dependency? What are the Maven repositories available? What is local repository? What is central repository? What is remote repository? Why we should go for remote repository? How to configure remote repository? Okay. What is compilation? What is execution? Why we need to compile? Why we need to execute? What is the packaging? What are the goals available? What is the purpose of the goal and how to execute the goal? What will happen when we execute the goal? All these things we have discussed. It is mandatory. If you know the subject like this, then definitely your confidence levels will increase to attend the interview. If you don't have the confidence on the subject, then definitely you can't crack the interview. You should have a confidence first. When you will get that confidence? If you are perfect in the technology. Technically, if you are strong, then you will get the confidence. Tomorrow, somebody will ask in the interview, can you tell me what is Maven repository? People will tell repository is a place where the jars will be available. But our students will tell about the repository for 10 minutes. Repository is a place where the jars will be available. In the Maven, three types of repositories are available: local repository, a local repository, central repository, remote repository. Our project will be connected to local repository for the dependency. If the dependency not available in the local, then Maven will connect to central, will download to the local. From local, it will give to the project. In the real time, we don't use the central, we will go to the remote repository. In our project, we are using JFrog as a remote repository. I am pointing to JFrog repository in the pom.xml. Interviewer will get shocked like anything if you give this answer. Bhai, kahan se aaya aap? How you learnt all these things? Yes or no? Generally, when the people ask, even when I am taking the interview in my company, I will ask the people, can you tell me what is Maven repository? People will tell, repository is a place where the jars will be available. That's it. Repository is a place where the jars will be available. That's it. Nobody will tell you in this much detail: local, central, Maven, remote, from where it is downloading, where it will search first, where it will search next, how to configure remote, why to go for remote, what is remote, what is a JFrog. Yeah, that's what I told you. After completion of this course, you are equal to 4 years experienced DevOps engineer. Happily, आराम से आप काम कर सकते हो 4 साल experience लगा के. Happily, you can keep 4 years of experience after attending this DevOps course, because technically we are going to become very strong, and all the things we are doing practically. The advantage for you, I am not only just a DevOps engineer. I am a Java programmer plus DevOps engineer. That is the reason I'm able to discuss the subject in this much detail. Normal DevOps engineers will not know this much about Maven. As I am a programmer, I use it to work with Maven daily. So that's why I have done the postmortem on the Maven software. Got it? Chalo. With this, we understood. We understood what is a goal in the Maven and how to execute Maven goals. Okay. Next one, syntax. Syntax. Maven space goal 1 space goal 2, like this. You can give Maven space goal name. Maven space goal name. Note, we need to execute. We need to execute Maven goal from project folder, not from outside of the project. Now, see here. Currently, I'm in which folder now? Build tool 01 Maven app. What is 01 Maven app? That is my project folder. Can I execute a goal from outside of the folder? Can I execute a Maven goal from outside of this folder? Now, currently I'm in which folder now? Build tool folder. I'm in the build tool folder. Okay. Try to execute Maven clean. What it is saying? Build failure. Why it is saying build failure? Why it is saying build failure? We are outside of the folder. That means from where you are executing the command, in that location pom.xml should be available. Then only you can execute the Maven goal. Then only you can execute the Maven goal. What is input for the Maven? Pom.xml. So from this build tool, it is trying to search, it is searching for pom.xml. Do you have the pom.xml in the build tool folder? We don't have the pom.xml in the build tool. Now, where is the build tool available? Inside the project. CD space 01. That is my project. That is my project. Currently, I'm pointing to project folder. In the project folder, I'm having my pom.xml. Okay. Now, let's execute. MVN clean. Now it is success. Now it is success. Now target folder is deleted. Can I compile the project and can I package the project now? Can you tell me the goal I need to execute to compile and package? MVN package. MVN package. It has done the compilation and it has done the test execution and it has done the packaging. Can you go to the target and can you see jar file is created or not? Jar file got created. All of you clear with this? All of you clear with this? Right. So with this, we have experimented with a standalone project. Now, can we create a web application by using Maven now? Can we create a web application by using Maven? So what is the change that you need to do to create a web application? What is the change you need to do to create a web application? What is archetype you need to change? Form.xml change? Yeah. No, man. You need to change. This command is going to create a web application. From the previous project and this project, what is the difference? Archetype is the different. Archetype is the different. Archetype fixed start nothing but standalone. Archetype web app nothing but web application. So in the tomorrow session, I will tell you how to create the web application folder structure, and we will see how to create the war file. Okay, if I'm uploading these notes, guys, so if you have time, you can execute this command. It will create a web application. You can package a web application. When you package the web application, it will create a war file. I will upload these notes. Okay, fine, guys. Good. I'm going to upload these class notes for you people so that you can practice it. Thank you. Good night, guys. So please practice Maven goals, guys, because it is very important to understand Maven goals. Maven repositories and goals. Maven repositories and goals. Then class notes uploaded. So please download the class notes and practice it before coming to tomorrow's session. Tomorrow class is available, guys. Tomorrow is a big day for us. Tomorrow is our institute anniversary day. Tomorrow is our institute second anniversary. Yeah, tomorrow we have class. I don't want to cancel the class on the anniversary day. Okay, all my classes are there tomorrow. Okay, thank you, guys. We'll meet tomorrow. We'll meet tomorrow. So please practice it before coming to tomorrow's session. Good night.